Chapter 11, Cool Hand Mike. Hey Gabe, I need to get to Radboy. Is there any way you can help? Is there anything you could do? Ah, fuck my temper, shit. I feel like I burned myself just thinking like that. I really hate thinking that way. It's like I'm possessed. And I do it a lot too. Keep spinning that shit inside me like a merry-go-round. Fuck, I hate merry-go-rounds. Seeing as to how Michael had faded into his own thoughts, Gabe had done the same, but hearing Michael speak to him again had him startled for a second. Oh, what, huh? Okay, so why are you looking for Anthony? Do you need money? Michael paused, feeling irritated. As if I give a shit about money right now. No, just want to know if he was responsible, replied Michael. Finally, while still trying to fight the fire he had started in his own head before. Calm the fuck down, Michael. Calm down, calm. No, don't start looking at Gabe like that. He's a friend. He ain't no target. You could just don't attack him for no good reason, please. Responsible for what? Questioned Gabe. Then Gabe's eyes lit up. You think he was behind it? For a second there, Michael had forgotten just now what the conversation was about, but then looking into Gabe's eyes, seeing his shock brought him back centered. Yes, I actually do. I think he was behind it, and that's why I'm looking for him. I don't think it had anything to do with it, Michael, responded Gabe, trying to make sense with why Michael would think that way. Well, I need to hear it from him. And if he did, then I'm going to have to fucking kill him, I guess. That's all, responded Michael as he frowned a bit. Not really your style. Well, I guess I'm going to have to make it my style. An exception for this time. We all know that you and Radboy never got along, but come on, Michael. You really think he would hold something like that? Yeah, I do. Ever since I've been in prison, been out of the picture, I've heard him and Nikki have been doing really well, explained Michael, trying to prove his point. Don't tell me you think Nikki also... No. But then Michael began to come to terms. I don't know. Fucking asshole really finally has her now, and he's with the Ravishers, busted out Michael, now feeling dismantled himself. Come on, let's go to the Tropic of Cancer. That was the dive that the Shamrocks always used to hang out in. Supposedly, way back in the day, used to be a real nice joint. A haven for artists and writers to hang out. Writers like Henry Miller lounging around, getting drunk before leaving for Paris. And supposedly that's where the place also got its name, named after that book that he wrote that was banned in America for obscene sexual references or something. Hey, have you ever read that book? Asked Michael. What, Tropic of Cancer? No, have you? Yeah, replied Michael. Really? What's it about? Asked Gabe, seeming a bit weirded out that Michael would actually read anything. Well, it's weird, funny at parts, though. Really, how? Well, it begins with something to do with shaving armpits and something about timelessness and then biting into a clitoris and spitting out 2 francs. Then it gets really weird. Explained Michael, chuckling at the 2 francs bit. Yeah, I guess it is weird, commented Gabe, unsure of how to follow up on that. Michael then began to think about the Tropic, their old hideout, and wondered how the years might have changed the place. What's at the Tropic? Asked Michael. Nothing, man. Just me and the boys kicking and getting high, the usual. No, I mean, how's the place changed? Oh, you'll see, concluded Gabe. Gabe then began wondering about Michael's time served in prison. Then, even though he knew it wasn't exactly a matter best to bring up right now, but so how was things in the joint? And asking that, all Michael did was make a face. Pretty bad, huh? Commented Gabe, fearing that was a pretty stupid question to ask, considering how else would prison be like. Michael just sighed, but said, actually, it was absolutely smurfy. Gabe then chuckled, hearing that response. What? Yeah, Gabe, it was pretty bad as fucking prison. Yeah, but why did you say smurfy of all things? Followed up Gabe. Michael didn't reply. There wasn't a lot of gay shit involved. Michael then froze and grew a queer-looking grin on his face. Gabe's awkwardness then grew tenfold. Wait, Michael then began to laugh. I mean, I've seen how it is in movies, how some guys might start, that's just shit you see in the movies, interrupted Michael as he brushed that notion off with his left hand. Gabe once again didn't know where to go from here, but Michael then decided to show him by giving his friend here the rundown. It's like this. When you're in, all that matters best is to keep your head low and turn to where you ain't looking. and pay no attention to shit when shit goes down. See no evil, hear no evil. That distilled Gabe a little to hear, so a lot of fucked up shit went down. Maybe. I didn't pay any attention to find out, repeated Michael, with a shrug. That came across a bit peculiar to Gabe, knowing Michael was never the sort. So, no thumping skulls for you, huh? Followed up Gabe, finding something pleasant, seeing as how Madboy had been placed in a situation where he finally met his match. Michael but shook his head, then eyed Gabe with a look of disappointment. What? Michael didn't say anything again. No, what? Oh, nothing, just admiring your ignorance, that's all. Gabe felt a bit insulted, then made a face. No, Gabe, no thumping skulls for me. In prison, you have to have some serious death wish to be that way. Yeah, but don't you have to first, prove something? Like someone might try to test you and you have to prove you ain't chicken shit? No, Gabe, that's just stupid shit you see in movies again. Gabe now felt like he might be very ignorant about the matter. Michael then felt like addressing it and closing it off. You know, the first day I was in, I felt that way too. I remember telling myself how I best to keep a stiff upper lip, so no one would take me for a wimp and be marked for having faggot potentials for the rest or something. And I remember the first face I came across in the joint that seemed to want to get all in your face about it. You know what I saw then when I looked him in the eyes and got confrontational? What? Asked Gabe. Fear. Absolute fear. Fear? Yeah, fear. Although rage-fueled fear, but fear is still enough. You see, in prison, it's really best to be friendly with everyone. Because everyone there is scared shitless of each other, leading everybody to be locking onto each other, all growling and gurring and shit, like a kennel full of dopamine pinchers. But yet, it's still a reaction coming out of fear. No one wants to do anything to anybody, and no one knows what the other guy is capable of, and they know if they have to, they have to. And the second you start giving people the idea that you're a bad motherfucker, one minute you're going to find yourself rolling with the punches. The next minute, you're going to be forced to shiv some guy in the face. And after that, shit can get really morbid. Very, very morbid and grossly violent, too. And you really don't want things to go down that road. You don't, huh? Gasped Gabe. No, you don't. You see, Gabe, prison is a very depressing place to be and way too overly aggressive. So what's really valued in there ain't none of that macho shit. No one really wants that crap in there. I mean, we're all in prison. We've all proven to society and to each other that we ain't the most savory characters on the planet. There's no need for machoing it up anymore. Plus, it reminds us of how it wasn't enough on the outside, considering how our stupid macho asses still got thrown in there. No one wants to see it, but what the peeps do want to see is people being all cool hand look with each other. That way we can, all try making life on the inside a bit more bearing and pleasant. Also, there's a giant racial thing in there, and if you're white, you got to stick with the other whites, blacks to the blacks and Hispanics with other Hispanics. But still, if you put on a smile and act cool, people will gladly accept it. Because, as I said, life can get really depressing in there, morbidly depressing, and then all cause someone to turn and have morbid thoughts. Thoughts about what? Asked Gabe as he began to feel that it was best if he didn't get an answer. Michael seemed stone-faced now, as if afraid to give him one. Gabe, getting the sense where this was going, decided to drop the matter and ask him about more positive stuff. For one thing, the fact that Michael was no longer there at that place and was now a free man. So what are you doing for a living now, Michael? Asked Gabe, growing a bit curious about his chum's present situation. Michael just shrugged and didn't seem like getting into that either. What are you doing for dough? I think you could go back to Fred Chardnick's and just stealing shit and pawning it off. That's what's been paying the bare necessities. What other job can an ex-convict get? Asked Michael as he stared into Gabe's eyes intently. Gabe cringed and said nothing, and the look Michael gave made him wonder a bit. You do know you're out now, Michael, right? You're no longer at that place. Doesn't that count for something? Thought Gabe. But then Gabe turned his head around and thought about everything Michael had told him about wanting to see Madboy. And seeing as he went to Stumpy's first, Gabe began to grow distressful. Really, Michael, you should have come by since you've been out, responded Gabe, looking into Michael's eyes. Looking at him up and down with a carping manner, Michael said nothing.